Welcome back, Ultra Speed Shop. We're going to talk today a little bit about the 55 and some tricks on what to look for when you're ringing out wiring to make sure it all works. If this is your first time joining us, this car came out of a field 45 years ago where it sat through winters and rain, and in Logan, Utah it gets pretty bad winters up there. So this has got a lot of corrosion, a lot of problems with it. Anyway, I've just been going through ringing out the wiring for these front headlights and parking lights, turn signals. None of that worked. In fact, if you see in some of my previous videos when I'm driving this thing, you can see a vice grip hooked to the headlight switch. The headlight switch was so seized in there by corrosion I couldn't even pull it out. I did find an old one. In fact, let me grab this box here. So this car had some things. I think the guy actually took good care of it before he parked it, because I found a set of tail lights under the seat. I actually found this switch. You can see original Delco Remley box, pretty cool box, but this had a headlight switch in it. Unfortunately, I pulled this one out and I slaved it in trying to get it to work, and it didn't work either. So I think he probably switched this out at one point, and I don't know for what reason he kept the switch in the box that he bought, threw it in the back. Anyway, it didn't work either. So I ended up buying a new switch, a new knob and shaft, because that was broken up, as you can see, with the vice grips on it from previous ones. So I got a new switch in it, and I was hoping that my switch would solve my problems with my headlights and my parking lights and turn signals, and it didn't. But one thing you should always do when you're ringing out wires, especially on cars that have sat for so long, first thing you should do is check your grounds. 99% of the time it's a ground issue. So always go to your grounds first. They're generally fairly easy to find. I can show you on the headlights here. So right here is the ground for the headlights. And you can see I've polished it out. Here's the other one for the other side. I polished it out, put it on. Anyway, after I did that, I got the switch in. The headlights started working, but the parking lights didn't. Turn signals didn't. So here's a tip, and I'll show you later. I'll show you when we go through the lights on this. Here's a tip for 1955 Chevys, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know if they are all this way or not. But on 55 Chevy, when you pull out your knob one click, you'll get your parking lights. When you pull it out two clicks, you'll get headlights, but your parking lights will go away. This car is not wired to where you can have parking lights and headlights going at the same time as it sat from when I got it. Now, of course, you could jumper a wire from your headlights down to there so that they will be on all the time. A lot of people do that. Nowadays, cars are built that way. If your parking light's on but your headlights aren't, it's because you don't have them on. If they're all on, anyway, you get what I mean. But if you're born like me, 73, not used to dealing with this, I don't know how many cars. I don't know if a 51 Chevy's wired this way. But all I know is this 55 Chevy is wired to where your marker lights do not come on with your headlights. So let me show you the I'll show you the lights and the turn signals, and we'll go around. Now the backs I had working. I did have to clean some grounds to get them working better, but they always worked. But my dad had gone through the back tail lights, cleaned them up, got the sockets all nice and ready to rock and roll, and he put new lenses in them at that point with new gaskets. So they were all rebuilt. But these two front marker lights, the headlights, this is as they are from the field. I will say I did change just the plastic pieces in here. They were pretty crazed. One was broke. I changed those out, and I changed the bulbs. And other than that, I had to go through and clean the grounds. So let's check out the lights real quick. So you can see, now there's just your parking lights on. So as you can see, the bottom, the back, or the parking lights. The headlights, parking lights go away. Turn signal, that works. And that turn signal. Turn the headlights off. You get the marker light and the turn signal going. So, horn works. Let me give you a secret here. So, on your marker lights, so we're talking just marker lights now. There's not, you saw I showed you the ground on the headlights where it went to the radiator support. There is no external wire going from the parking lights to the body anywhere. The parking lights are grounded through this housing itself. One other little tip here. You can pull out, now if you go on the inside of this fender, there's 3 bolts. There's one up here, 2 down here. You can pull them nuts off. They're studs actually. Pull them nuts off and you can pull that light out. Now if you just clean up the metal where that housing's touching into the body, sometimes that doesn't do it. Both of these lights I cleaned all that up and I put it in. I had to actually take the socket itself, and this one was particularly bad. And you can tell that one has been replaced. I can tell by the wiring on it. You can tell how much nicer the chrome is. This light at one point has been replaced. The wiring's different. There's no undercoating on it. This one's original. And there's still undercoating all over the wiring. But to get to that ground, sometimes just doing the body to the housing isn't enough, especially when it's sat for a long time. What you need to do is loosen that socket up in there. Get that socket kind of as much as you can get it to move between the socket and the housing, because it'll corrode in there too. Both of these were that way. I cleaned it all up, I put it on, I still didn't have any. I ended up going in, basically moving that socket, getting that corrosion out of there, and that did the trick. So we're ready to rock and roll on this. I have one light that's out on this, and I have not looked at that, but go to the back, Isaac, and we'll show. So right here is this is your parking lights. So both the parking lights are on. You can see we're a blue dot family. We love blue dots, and that was the first thing my dad did. Got lenses with blue dots. But so if you look here, right here is your license plate light for your trunk. That lights up your license plate. That right there is the only light out on this car. There's 2 of these, one here and one there. And I have not fixed that. I will get it fixed. just haven't had time to look at it much. But let me show you these lights real quick. This is your parking lights, or that's actually your headlights too. So if you're driving at night, that's what's showing. And you got your brake lights. And then you've got turn signals also. And reverse lights. They all going, Isaac?
Yep.
Sweet. So, got all the doors on this. I'm wanting to drive this. I actually talked with Haggerty. I haven't put insurance on it yet, but I am going to. One thing that we've been working on is the trunk floor. You can see here. So I had to cut out this section, and I'm cheap. Okay, I'm cheap, but my labor is very inexpensive for myself. So to me, it was worth building a floor here. I made all this panel here instead of buying a floorboard for it. The trunk floors are actually fairly expensive, and like I said, I'm cheap. So I framed it up with some 1/2-inch square tubing. Got a bead roller and rolled you can see the beads I rolled, put it in, and now I can put my gas tank in. Right here, as you can see, these carriage bolts that are sticking up, that's for my gas tank straps. I actually have the gas tank in right now, and I'm getting this all set up. So I haven't, they're sitting up because I've just drilled it. I haven't squared off the holes for that to sit in yet, but that's coming up next. Other thing we did is so when we got this trunk lock was completely seized. Everything was seized in this. There wasn't one door in this that opened or that the window rolled down. So this was completely seized. It didn't open at all. In fact, the only way I got it open was, luckily this floor was rotted out so bad that you can see this is a new piece. I actually got up here, stuck my head up here because it was, well, the gas tank was there, but I got my head about here, and this was so rotted out that I actually put a rivet gun or an air hammer on the remaining little web there, and I popped that open. And once I busted that, then we could open this. We have since gone through all of the mechanisms, and we're good there. It's good to go there too. Shuts and locks. Got a new deal for it. Opens up nice. So we're ready to rock and roll. I was hoping to get up to a big car show up in Brigham City that is actually happening tomorrow, called Peach Days. I really, really wanted to take this up there. That was my goal. I could take it up there right now just running off the boat tank, but it's, what is it, 60 miles away probably. And I'll admit I don't trust this for 60 miles. I'll trust this around town. We've driven it to the store and back, cruised it around. I don't trust it for 60 miles quite yet, but as soon as we get this tank in and get some more miles on it, we'll see. And I didn't have any headlights or parking lights. I just fixed them tonight. So anyway, we're not going to make it to Peach Days. I'm still going to go up there. I thought about car haulering, putting it on a car hauler and hauling it up there, and then dropping it off at my buddy's house. It lives in Perry, which is right by Brigham, and then driving it in from there. I trusted enough to do that, but it's a rough weekend. Isaac, he's got homecoming, so he's busy. My wife don't want to go, so anyway, it's couldn't get any buddies to go with me, but hopefully sometimes in the future, cruise nights will have it out. And if you're in Utah, you can see it. But that's where we're at. So right now we've got this pretty much ready to drive. I mean, it's legal now. The brakes are good. It runs and drives. Once that fuel tank's buttoned up, we've got headlights now, brake lights, turn signals. We're legal. We just need to get insurance on it and get a vintage plate and register it. And we will start driving it. So our next step is exhaust. I'm just going to put dual exhaust. I'm going to throw some ram's horn, exhaust manifolds, whatever you want to call it. And just run dual exhausts out the back. Should be quick and easy. And it'll be street legal. Still going to work on the dent. Going to shine up the body a little bit. Shine up this chrome as much as we can. I think it'll come out pretty decent. I think my dad has his doubts. He's probably right. It's probably not going to come out of what I have pictured in my head, but we're going to give it a shot. Like I said, my labor's cheap. So anyway, that's just some tips and tricks on if you're ringing wiring out on any old car. It doesn't have to be a 55 Chevy, but grounds first. Go to your grounds. Always go to your grounds. And when this wiring is this old, you gotta look at it pretty close, because the insulation on it will crack. You'll get bare wires in spots. You don't want to have to go through getting a car running and have, get it back on the road only to have it burned to the ground because of crappy wiring. So wiring is important. Especially old aging wire like this. So pay close attention to it when you are going through it. Make sure that there isn't any bare wires. If there is, fix it. If you're going to restore it, just go to painless wiring, get a harness, and just rewire the whole thing. We may do that eventually with this. We'll see. But as I've gone through and seen some bare wire here and there, I have taken care of that problem. And as I've gone through the trunk, I found some. It's quite funny on a lot of this wiring in the back. I found some terrible wiring, and I'm almost positive it's factory wiring. There's like two going together and the third one coming in, and it's just like wound up. They didn't put a splice on it, which surprised me. I don't know if they had a problem at the factory and it broke and they just spliced it, because it was in seam. It was embedded in seam sealer, and I could be wrong. Maybe it's not from the factory. The more I think about it, this thing was rear-ended, so maybe it was a crappy body shop that does body work but not wiring. So you never know the history on all this stuff, which is kind of cool though. I mean, as you go through, you see different things here and there. So anyway, that's where we're at. September 11th tomorrow, so pay tribute to those that lost their lives in that, and give them the respect they deserve. So that's where we're at Olson Speed Shop. We got some big storms and thunder just rolled through. It's quite nice. We need the rain. So we'll see you guys soon. And if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. It helps us. And so there we are. So thanks.